Hi, Tammy. Hope all is well.
Hello, Sid. All well on my side, thank you. Back in the UAE, had a beautiful early morning swim and ready to hit the day.
Awesome. And yeah, apologies for being a nuisance yesterday. I was like just checking if you were okay, because normally I'm so used to your like prompt messages, and I'm thinking, there's
I
my
was
dear
traveling.
friend Tammy. Oh, uh-huh.
Yeah, I was out traveling most of the day, so therefore the
Oh,
delay in response. So sorry.
oh, no worries, no worries. I think you also were recovering from jet lag, so all good.
I'm still trying. I'm very jet lagged. Still trying to recover, but yeah, the swim this morning did a world of good. So yeah.
Awesome. As usual, it's always a pleasure to have you on, especially for today's topic. I know you had suggested to me in our last chat.
Yes.
So, so my opening question to you regarding that is, after a divorce or breakup, how can someone know they are emotionally ready to enter a new relationship?
So I would say there's no such thing as, you never know when you're ready, So emotional readiness for a new relationship is less about being completely healed from your past traumatic relationship or a divorce or whatever. It's more about being emotionally stable, self aware, self composed, and choosing a relationship for, I would say, the right reasons. Some of the signs that you know to look out for, to know that you are emotionally ready, I would say, is um, seek a partner when you know you're not escaping loneliness.
Mm.
I've been through the experience myself, and I'm talking from pure experience. It does get very, very lonely. You often hear of people say, oh, but they moved on so quickly. I always say, do not judge anybody unless you've walked a mile in their shoes. So
Mm.
I would say it's don't do it to escape loneliness, to escape pain or insecurity. Go for something that is more focused and more in line with what you want. Don't go there where the thoughts of your ex, trigger immense emotional reactions. Where you reflect what worked and what didn't work on your previous relationships. So I would say, take a recollection of where you are currently, and if you're comfortable being single, being on your own, and you're not feeling totally rushed into the next chapter. I know it, especially with the women, where they feel, their biological clock is ticking. They rush into on a rebound relationship, get into, like well, not even a relationship, I would say. Basically, some of them even go, crudely saying it like a one night stand, and then, they're having huge regrets. I know of, sorry, I'm digressing here, but I know of somebody that was in a 12-year marriage, and they couldn't have kids because she tried every test under the sun. She tried the IVF, and it was failed attempts. Lo and behold, divorced her husband, literally had like a one night fling, and here you go, she fell pregnant. So, these are the kind of things, even I would say, you never know what it is. You never know where your luck lies. You never know what the future holds. But just be cautious when you are going into a new relationship, and tread with caution as well if you are being sexually involved in a person. Know what the outcome is. I would say almost preempt what could happen, on the negative side. um, if these signs, certain signs show that you need more time, if you're still focused on hoping that you can reconcile with your ex, if you're feeling bitter, and distrustful towards another potential partner, if you're seeking a relationship mainly for maybe validation or just to fill that emptiness, fill that void, and if you're constantly talking about breakups and feeling still overwhelmed, I would say you're not healed. Don't rush into the next relationship. And one thing is a definite no no. When you are, whether you're dating or whether you are looking for a new relationship, don't rush into something and, where you keep talking about your ex and keep talking about what
Mm,
went wrong, about, every relationship is not the same. See everything as a new beginning, new relationship, not a repetition of the past. So the key takeaway I would say is, being emotionally ready doesn't mean having no grief or no fear or sadness even. It means you've accepted what has happened. Remember, every one of us have a choice in life. I always say, when you make that choice, stick with it and rebuild your life, learn from experiences, and you can choose the partner or the relationship because you genuinely want one, and you genuinely appreciate being with somebody or sharing your space, sharing your company with somebody, not because you need someone to heal or to complete you.
awesome. All right, there's a comment here from Jitin Rishika. I guess it's touched on what you've mentioned in a way. Hi, Tammy. Having a healthy mind and independence is important. You have to be emotionally strong to enter another relationship, but I guess your gut instinct will tell you so.
Absolutely. Thanks, Rashika, for that question, or that comment. It's
Mm,
110%. Sometimes you, you in your 40s and you date somebody in your 20s. That person might be so much more emotionally mature than if you're dating a 40-year-old or even a
mm,
50-year-old. So, it's that emotional maturity. And I'm not big on, like the age gap and so forth. It's, they say opposites attract. And my mom used to always say, no five fingers are the same. So,
mm.
whatever floats your boat, you go for it. You don't, there's no a cookie cutter approach to any relationship. You do what you feel is right. Like Reshika mentioned, you go with your gut instincts. That initial gut instinct that tells you, hey, proceed with caution, or this feels right. It gives you that warm, fuzzy feeling. Go with it. And I say life is so short, just enjoy it.
Awesome. I guess it's, I guess I also have this belief that age is nothing but a number.
Absolutely. That is so, so true.
Awesome. What are some common emotional wounds people carry from past relationships, and how can they avoid bringing them into a new relationship?
So, some of the common wounds, I would say, is fear of abandonment,
Mm,
worrying, will my partner leave again?
mm,
That were you having repetition of somebody just
yeah.
leaving you all the time? They carry that immense fear with them. Trust is a huge, huge thing. Trust is, where you're expecting the person to betray you, to be dishonest with you. Let
Yeah.
go of that. Another huge thing is low self-esteem, low self-worth, where you're feeling unworthy, you're feeling less than, you're feeling that you could constantly questioning your validation for love. Am I worthy of having a relationship? Am I worthy of having another person in my life? Those kind of things. Another one is unresolved anger or
Mm,
resentment, I would say. So you carry that bitterness with you. I know when I was writing my first book, I did a lot of research on when people break up in relationships, especially when it's a toxic relationship, where women do some mind numbing psychotic stuff. I know the one lady took I think it's called a pickaxe or something, the one that's like a slanted T, and she slammed that into the husband's brand new BMW bonnet.
okay.
So, and this pickaxe or whatever the thing is was glaring at him when he got up in the morning, to find it into his car. So people do some real weird, crazy stuff. And it comes from that unresolved anger, that resentment. And, people often say, I can't believe he left me for her, or I can't believe he did this, those kind of things. The other thing I would say is also fear of conflict, where you avoid difficult conversations, you avoid the conflict. So that fear comes in, and that plays a huge part there. Also, loss of identity, I would say, where you are, say you're married to a doctor, and sometimes I say, here's Mrs. Doctor. It's like, oh, my husband's a doctor. You become fixated on the labeling, you become fixated on the titles, and it's that, who are you without that person? You become so fixated on living this life of the label, that even though it's unhealthy, even though you're unhappy, you stay in that relationship just because of society, the name. And this is where the ego comes in.
Mm.
And some people have like really inflated egos, where everything is about name, fame, title, what brand of car you're driving, what handbag wearing, the jewelry, those type of things. So people become fixated on the loss of identity, preventing them from moving forward. So how I would say, to avoid bringing those things into a new relationship, which is to step forward with a clean slate, I would say, recognize what, do old school, write down things, recognize what your triggers are, what your emotion patterns are, what sort of emotion triggers you in a good way, triggers you in a bad way, and take responsibility for your own healing. I'm speaking from my self experience. I knew I was going through this, and I was doing it alone. So researched. I did a lot of research into how can I improve myself. Where are there's surely relationship workshops, a relationship healing, there's divorce recovery workshops, and looked for these things. I mean, the net is so vast these days. Join one of these things so you can focus on your healing. Take responsibility. Nobody's going to come and pat you on the shoulder and say, oh, it's okay, let me help you out. Each one's to their own. So you need to take recollection, and you need to take charge of your own life. Another thing I would say, communicate openly and honestly, especially if you are in a separation or in a divorce. Know, and if you're already wanting to get into another relationship, or your relationship is breaking up because of a third party, communicate openly as to what is going on. What are the next steps? What you're expecting out of this? And this will allow, the trust and intimacy to gradually develop in your new relationship. And a strong thing, especially with ladies, maintain your own interest, your friendship, your sense of self. Who am I? What makes me tick? Not living your life for somebody else's, in somebody else's limelight, I would say. So, a key takeaway, I would say, a healthy relationship doesn't require you to have perfect healing. There's no hard and fast time to say, okay, 2 years after the divorce, you healed, you fine, you're ready to go on. Each person is for their own, but you need to take recollection as to know what, where, why, how. This requires that self-awareness, emotional responsibility, the ability to respond to the present rather than past hurts. It's not to forget what happened in the past, but it's to learn without letting it control your life or control the decisions you're making about future relationships.
Right. Again, this is another comment here from Jitin Rishika. If a relationship costs you your peace and healing, then it's time to reconsider. And then there's another part to it. Respect each other's boundaries. Yeah, that's
Absolutely. 110%. Again, I'm talking from experience, having had a marriage before, and my whole life centered around what did he want, what interested him, what movies did he like. I i don't like the murder, death, kill movies, the action and so forth. I'm the chick flick type of thing. And here in I actually sacrificed all that. Sometimes I would sit in a movie with my eyes covered the entire time,
Oh my
just
gosh.
that he would be satisfied. So you make so much of self-sacrifices,
Mm.
not knowing how you damaging your self-worth, your self-confidence. What And with my new relationship, it's my husband encourages me to go out with my friends. He's got a set day with his friends. He goes out. And I'm not the type of person to be keep phoning him. Where are you? Have you arrived? I was in South Africa just yesterday, and I know of people that have been that phoning. Where are you? Did you reach on time? One person, the husband went to go the car wash. You left at certain time. It takes you that much of time to get to the car wash. It takes you so long time for the car to be washed. Then it takes you. Why are you so late? Who is there? Who are you meeting with? Come on, that's to that level. You need. I would say you need help if you're going to be questioning every minute of
Mm.
every day. Where is the trust? Why are you
Uh,
having trust issues? And I would say it works both ways as well. If you know your spouse, your partner, has got those tendencies, don't feed into that. If you are going to be late, just pick up the a quick call. Hey, babe, running late, queue at the car wash, unexpected queue, unexpected traffic. And I know, like the area in South Africa, all the lights were out. So considering those kind of things, you can't be too hard and fast on putting pinpointers on your person's whereabouts all the time. It's not very healthy at all.
yeah. All right. Again, another one. Yeah. Some people are confused between sacrifice and compromise. Big difference.
For sure. Absolutely. And the thing is, for me, is you shouldn't sacrifice.
Mm.
It's
I agree.
um even in a marriage, is it is a compromise. And remember, marriage is a merger. It's not a takeover. You're not taking over somebody's life. You still need to have your own identity and to live your life. If you feel that if your partner doesn't want to go dancing, for example, don't stop it to say, oh, he doesn't want me to go dancing. Pick up a girlfriend, pick up a friend that you trust, and go and live your dreams. Don't stop living your dreams. As I said, I'm talking from pure experience, where my life halted because of somebody else's needs and wants. You need to still know, who am I, what makes me tick. If you this I noticed this especially in my counseling sessions as well, where people going through a divorce now, all of a sudden, here the husband who never liked waltzing, never liked dancing, he's going for dancing classes, he's going to play
Wow.
paddle tennis. Why not rekindle? Remember, a relationship, a marriage is work. It's like you're going to work. You need to
Wow.
constantly look at things to improve yourself, to improve, like what's going on, what is the next step. you know Often you come to 5-10 years, and here you're bored in this relationship, you're bored in this marriage. Why not
Mm.
rekindle that spark? Especially where, in I found this in the Indian community as well, where something like sex is like a taboo topic. It's only supposed to be behind closed doors. Nobody knows what's going on. Why not? There's so much out there. There's so much of educationals. Like, I would say, if you feel that there's look at your relationship and say, is your sex life 10 out of 10? Why not make it 11 out of 10? If you want to look at bringing toys into the situation, or looking at other things, and try to be, I would say, adventurous. not now with another person, but with your current partner. Look at these things. Why now, once you want to separate, then you think, oh, let me try this, or let's do this here. But whereas you had your partner and you couldn't try it, this is your most open relationship that you can have. And I know another thing as well is ailments, especially when it comes to males, where they have issues with ED, and it is, remember, it's not something to be ashamed about. It's not something that you sweep under the carpet and you live a very unhealthy sex life. You need to address this. There is help out there. And remember, with our GMO foods, our GM foods nowadays, the vitamins that we take, everything is not, like how it used to be. It does affect, your health, not only your physical health, your mental health as well. So look at things of improving your sex life, your mental drive, your physical, whatever it is. Look, if you feel that, hey, I'm not like I was in my 20s, I'm not like I was in my 30s, but maybe I can get at least two notches up there. Go and see a doctor, go to a surgeon, go and check it out, go and do bloods, check it out. We're not living in the Stone Age. We are living in such a technologically advanced um, era at the moment, and everything is available to us.
True. Sorry about this. This is from
No,
Lishan. Valid post, Tammy. Proper planning prevents poor performance, is what Richard Branson said. It hits the nail on the head. Transparency and communication is key, a foundation. That's from.
absolutely. That is so so true. The other thing I wanted to touch on as well, you mentioned here, clear communication, and that was the one of the major breakdowns in my previous marriage, where I was too afraid of how or what I would say to hurt the partner, and as a result I kept it all to myself, which was the worst thing that you can do. Open communication, especially when it comes to the sexual part. Know what makes your partner tick. If your partner doesn't like something, find out why they don't like it. Not just carry on doing it just to irritate the person. Find out, if are you adventurous, let's try something new, let's do this or let's do that. You never know sometimes if it's triggering past emotion or past hurt. Remember, there's a lot of people that are coming out of being previously molested when they were little, and you never know if it's triggering something negative. So don't be cold about it. Communication is key. Find out, why is this particular act of mine, why is it giving you a negative feeling or making you feel uncomfortable. Speak it out. If you know, okay, because of past trauma, maybe the person was raped or molested or whatever the case is, and that particular activity is making them feel uncomfortable, you've got two choices. One, don't do it again. Or two, bring up the situation. Let's look at healing and moving on from there. So don't be insensitive to your partner. It's something that is so personal to you, and have an open communication. I know, especially when it comes to religious upbringing, where people are very staunch with their
Mm.
religious beliefs, talking openly about sex and talking openly about things that happen, under the sheets, is taboo. But there's so much out there. There's so much of educational stuff that you can do. Bring up the conversation, even if you are researching stuff together with your partner. Maybe find a little video, a little clip that will say, hey, have you tried this or have you tried that? And I know we're on the topic now of relationships and sexual relationships as well. A key thing, I'm not promoting anything or any product here, but a product called Sheila Jet. It comes from the Himalayas. It's horrible tasting, horrible tasting. But you literally have like a pea pod size in warm water, and it improves the prostate. It improves the overall sex organs of the male, it is extremely beneficial. And you will find, especially if there's a low sex drive, it improves these things. I don't know the medical, I've just been reading up about it. And
Okay.
there's some people that have actually come forward, anonymously, and said, yes, I've been having it for a month or 4 months, and it's been a game changer for me. So look at certain things. There's lots of herbal stuff that you can take as well, where if you feel that, okay, I don't really want to go to a doctor, being ashamed of speaking about something like this, look, there's alternatives. The net is so vast with information.
That's true. How important is healing and self-discovery before becoming emotionally and physically intimate with someone new?
So healing and self-discovery are both important, because you enter a new relationship from a place of, I would say, wholeness rather than fear or need, or like unresolved pain rather. So when you take time to heal and process what you're going through, you're less likely to use a relationship to fill that emotional void. Excuse me. You can distinguish genuine attraction from, maybe a need for validation, or to fill up some loneliness. So you're more aware about your values, your boundaries, and your relationship needs, and you're less likely to repeat also unhealthy patterns from the past relationships, unhealthy emotional triggers. And you can build a meaningful relationship with intimacy based on trust, choice, and mutual respect. Respect is a huge thing for me. I strongly recommend that to anybody, that if you and your partner have got respect, um, that it's based, your relationship should be based on respect and trust. You don't need to be perfectly healed before becoming. There is no, as I said, cookie cut method where, okay, you're 2 years and then you're ready for the relationship. I would say it's more, the key is to have more self awareness and to be emotionally stable from past wounds, and not driving your decisions from past hurt. So the goal isn't perfection, it's about choosing a partner because you genuinely want to share your life with them, not because you're trying to escape pain or just, feel comfort, or feel, sorry, complete rather.
Yeah, looks like Mission P agrees with you. Yeah. And that's just it. Listen and not hear. Understand intimacy and its importance. And if you know your partner, he/her desires, don't ignore he/her desires at the risk of a partnership break.
Absolutely, 110% on that, Nish. That is so brilliant. We I know with the Indian community that I have clients with, it's talking about sex, talking about sexual relationships, intimacy. It's like, oh, we can't talk about this. And sometimes, even if you want to go for counseling, you just need somebody to talk to. Look away from the person and let them know. Remember, if you are seeking professional help, this person is called a professional because they know how to help you. If you're feeling, like shy, if you're not comfortable about talking about something like this, look away from the person. Do it over a phone call rather. But I do not recommend that. I would rather say, be in front of a person, but if you don't want to address the person directly, look away from the person. There's so many ways to address these things, and sometimes it takes a third person to recognize that there is a problem. So at certain times we become so complacent in this rat race of ours that we forget. If you look at your, I would say to anybody, look at your relationship like a drone effect, like a third person, and see, there is no relationship that's perfect. But if you look at it
That's
as a
true.
drone effect and say, how can I change this? How can I better myself? What can I do to improve, enhance, change things, make it more exciting? You actually come out, and remember, the world revolves on energies. When The old saying is, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. So if you are looking and say, oh, okay, let me try and do this, let me enhance this, or let me find out, let me go and check up if I do genuinely have an issue, you will find how the universe conspires, and you will find how things come into your area of awareness to say, let me try this. Even sometimes you're just scrolling randomly, you might find something on Instagram or on TikTok that says, oh, that's a trigger. Wow, this has come to me. So the universe does conspire.
Awesome. What role do self-worth and personal boundaries play when starting a new relationship after heartbreak?
So self-worth and personal boundaries are both essential foundations for a new relationship. So self-worth, it helps you recognize your values, regardless of whether you've been in relationships before. It prevents you from seeking validation or settling for less than you deserve. So
Mm,
or less than you deserve, or even ignoring red flags out of fear of just being alone. And then the personal boundaries, I would say, protect your emotional side, protect your physical, mental, and your physical and mental well-being as well. Communicate your needs openly. Maintain your identity. Do not change who you are to fit into somebody else's routine. And it comes with respect as well. And also make sure that you are present in the situation, not thinking about the past, not thinking about the future. Oh, I need to solidify this relationship. I'm getting old. My biological clock is ticking. I want to have a child. I want to have a family. I've got to get this thing. It's like, why can't this happen already? Why didn't I meet the person 5 years earlier, 10 years? Everything happens in divine timing. So when your self-worth and your boundaries are clear, you choose a partner from desire rather than
mm,
desperation, I would say.
mm,
So you're less likely to tolerate as well unhealthy behavior. If something doesn't fit with you, you say it out. A lot of people as well, I notice this, especially when you have an independent person where they've got everything going for them. If there's one trigger, it's like, oh, I can't handle this, cheers,
mm,
gone. They're not prepared to compromise, they're not prepared to work things out,
mm.
especially where you've been on your own, you're living on your own for a long period of time. I know where a lot of people, where career has come in, and they forget about who they are, and now they get so complacent with how they're working in their little cocoon, and so they forget about themselves. Hi,
Oh,
can you hear
sorry.
me?
I think. Yeah, yeah, sure, sure. Yeah, I
Okay,
can hear
all
you
right.
now.
All right. So, yeah, as I was saying, so after a heartbreak, knowing what your self worth is, and setting up healthy boundaries for yourself without losing your identity in the process.
Awesome. How can someone overcome fears of vulnerability, trust issues, or comparison with a former partner when moving forward?
So, I would say focus on your healing, not on the other person. Focus on your healing. It becomes all about me, while staying present in the new relationship. If I could tell somebody, if you're going through something like this, go to the gym, Go and swim, go and punch a bag. You need to get out that frustration. You need to relieve, you need to have some sort of avenue to let go of that adrenaline, because you get so worked up. You do things or you say things that you actually would regret later. Even if there's children involved, uh, you know, the first person that you bring in front of them, don't do this. At least be dating a person for at least 4 to 6 months before you can introduce your kids to them. A lot of the time people, again from experience, my kids refused to go to their dad because almost on a monthly basis they were being introduced to somebody new, and my kids were teenagers at the time and they felt very uncomfortable. So I had
Mm.
to understand that I'm not stopping my kids from seeing their father, but I was stopping them from being exposed to something unhealthy. you know um, Basically these are the type of things. And like Nish mentioned, the communication is key. Communication not only with your new partner, with your kids as well. Let them know that, a lot of the time people say, oh, I'm staying in the relationship because of my kids. Would you want your kids to be in that relationship with you, knowing how unhealthy this is, the fighting, the screaming, whatever negative goes on? Or would you rather have them away in a more love relationship? So speak to your kids. You may think that, kids are, they're little, you don't want to get them involved, but trust me, even in schools, there's so much of help out there. Notify the teachers, notify, what do you call these guidance counselors that you have at the school as well. Notify them that, hey, something is going on. We're going through a little bit of a, like a relationship adjustment rather. And just notify or notice my child's work, my child's attitude. There is something happening on the home front, because 9 out of 10 times I've seen it where kids, their results show their decline in the results, their concentration, these things. You may think that, kids don't know, but they know so much. And they also speak to their peers. So communicate openly. And coming back to the relationship, avoid comparing. you know
Mm.
Oh, my ex did this and my ex did that. Stop comparing. See every relationship on its own as a new relationship. And I would say, practice vulnerability in small steps. That's where that's when the relationship grows. And trust as well. Trust is a huge thing where it goes. So the goal is not to erase the past of what you've been through, but it's to learn from it without letting it define your future and define your future relationships. I know, like when I took part in the pageant, I was asked, uh, would you, if you were given the chance to go back and erase any part in your life, would you do that? And like, especially, like the toxic part of the divorce. And I said, I won't, because that made me recollect who I am. I found out my self-worth. From that, you have a choice. You can either take a negative situation and you can wallow in it and take it to your grave, or you can use it as a stepping stone to the next chapter of your life, which I did. I wrote a book. I became a published author. I became an international motivational speaker. If I had not done that, I wouldn't be here. So every negativity, every adversity that you face is a stepping stone to a different chapter, a different version of yourself. So don't see it as a negative and don't wallow in it. Rather learn and grow from that.
I think from what I was trying to gather, I think when you were mentioning about your kids, I think what you were probably trying to do was more of a balancing act, because if I'm correct.
Not so much of a balance act, I would say. Whatever he did, because it got to a point in the relationship where, with my kids, they felt uncomfortable. So the
Mm.
communication is to find out what, and remember, your kids are not, they've always seen mom and dad together. So now the third person is coming in on both the sides. It's very uncomfortable for them
Yeah.
to realize this. So the communication is key on both the parties, the parent, the mother and the father, to say, this is what's going to happen. Brace yourself. Don't be the negative Nancy to say, oh, that person is less than, or she's taken my trash or whatever. Don't do that, because remember, with the joint custody as well, your kids are going to be with that person. So rather come from a place of maturity and open communication, and rather say that, what, yes, I know my kids are going to be spending time with this person. Be open, and even with the your ex-partner, rather say to them openly, do not introduce the kids to somebody new just yet. Give it some time. It's still, especially if they've gone through the divorce with you, it's a lot for them to process. Now mommy and daddy are no longer together, and now within a month you're introducing them to somebody else. That's a definite no-no. It's too much for the kids to handle.
Yeah.
So just be cautious about how and when you introduce the kids. Yes, there are situations where sometimes you don't have the help. You've got the kids with you. Don't book your meetups, don't book your dates on the weekend that you have the kids. Try to work around it. Try and get a babysitter, try and do something, but don't get the kids involved at the early start. It's definitely not a healthy environment for them to be in.
Lastly, what advice would you give someone who wants their next intimate relationship to be healthier, more conscious, and more fulfilling than their last?
I would strongly say heal before you seek. So take responsibility for your emotional wounds, so they don't become a part of your new partner's burden. Know yourself thoroughly. Understand what your values are, what your needs are, what your boundaries, and make it a non-negotiable commitment to yourself before you get into somebody else's space. So choose from desire, definitely not desperation. So enter a relationship because it enhances you, it enriches you, not because you're
Mm.
filling a void. I need somebody in my life. I need a husband. I need a wife. You're not filling a void. So rather go with openness that, okay, I am ready. I know who I am. I know what I want. I know where I've come from, and I know where I'm going. So do not go in because, oh, I'm lonely, I need this, because you just settle for nothing, and then who knows, 5, 10 years down the line you're getting into the same rut again, which you don't want. Communication is key. Communicate openly and honestly. Share your feelings, share your expectations, your concerns, your kindness, and share and communicate with clarity as to what you want, what makes you tick, what doesn't make you tick, what makes you angry, what irritates you. Share these feelings openly. And I would say, don't ignore red flags as well. You know where you've come from, right? And if there's certain things that, that initial guts that says there's something amiss here, become that MI6 investigator. Go and check things out. There's so much out there. There's so much of social media. There's tons and tons of communication avenues that you can get to. Also, your friend circle are a huge, I would say, a support system to let your red flags. If you are close with your friends, tell them if you see something, or have, I'm dating this person here, do you possibly know them? Get them to investigate. I know of a lady that I'm counseling in South Africa at the moment, and I met her on my last trip. And She, I got her to create a fake, what is it called now, the dating app, a fake Tinder
Oh,
profile, and
okay.
yeah, there's two others there. I didn't even know this. I'm like a little bit rusty on that side. And so she created fake profiles, and lo and behold, she did find the husband active on those sites. So it was, I think the one of them, it tells you the last log on or something, and the last log on was like 2 weeks prior. They're still in a very healthy, so-called healthy marriage. And when she found this out, she was horrified. And another thing is, sometimes you come from a place of naivety where a lot of people that they find ways and means to work around things, to hide things. I was also educated by somebody much younger than me to say this is what they do. So if you're going to, I don't even know what you call it now, where the hen house or the brothel, or I find it crude to say that, but these places or these agents or whatever, they actually uh, call it, when they swipe their cards, they call it like you know like a supermarket type of thing, like a
Mm.
supermarket chain. So you're not seeing I don't know, like Lusty Lucy's or Gina's golden cave or whatever the thing is called. So you're seeing a swipe of some superette. So you're not going to think, oh, why is my, oh, I'm going to buy cigarettes every week, or I'm going to buy, I don't know what you're buying. So there's ways and means to work around things. If you have got those MI6 skills, go and investigate, go and check it out. Don't be too naive as well. So coming back to the relationship part, I would say practice vulnerability and trust. So every relationship is not the same. And focus on growth, not on perfection. There's no relationship that is perfect. So healthy relationships build two people together, learn, adapt, support each other. I know with males, when it comes to the emotional side, they are less that forthcoming with their emotional problems. You would, I know of some males that are empaths, but very rarely would you find a guy coming out and say, this is who I am, this is what drives me, this is what makes me tick. So you need to have that sort of open relationship, open communication. And instead of asking, how do I find the right person, you say, how do I become the healthiest, the most authentic version of myself that can create a truly meaningful relationship, long lasting relationship to me. So it's the most fulfilling relationships when you find two people that come together and work things out. It's not to say, I know a lot of people, ladies that, or guys that, oh, she completes me or he completes me.
Mm.
Catch a wake up, you're not broken, come on. The person should compliment you, not complete you.
Mm.
I cannot understand where that term comes from. Oh, they complete me. You're not broken. And I ask the people, why were you broken? Like, no, no, no. They just, they make me whole again. I'm like, oh, which part of you was broken that they're making you whole? Come on. The person should not complete you. They should compliment you. So they compliment you to grow together. And you should choose each other every day. So that's my take on that.
Yeah, well said, hey. And thanks so much for your time, Tammy, and I look forward to the next one.
Absolutely. Love and light to all the listeners and the viewers.